sustainable solutions to malnutrition and hunger in the country. Now, engineer Dr. Egon OKON-EFFIONG is a food security expert as well as a crop farmer. She joins us now to lend her thoughts and wealth of knowledge into ways to end the food crisis in the country, marking World Food Day at a time when Nigerians continue to grapple with food security, while the country is riddled with daunting food crisis. Hello and good morning. Welcome to the program, ma'am.
Good morning.
Well, I believe I did justice with your name.
You tried.
Fantastic. It's wonderful to have you on the program. You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. You too.
All right. It's World Food Day, and reports coming in from different newspapers this morning are quite not encouraging for Nigerians, especially with statistics saying that a family of 4 to typically feed within a month just 1 meal per day would cost around 150,000 naira in a country where the minimum wage is pegged at 70,000 naira per month.
Yes.
How would you react to this?
Okay, so food security is a global concern. So bringing it down to Nigeria, it's something that everyone needs to be concerned about. The first question I'm going to be asking us is, what do we do with the spaces in our homes? As I speak with you, if you come to my house now, I have a garden. I have an empty space of land that belongs to someone that the person is not using. I went ahead to plead with the person, since you're not ready to build, can I just plant some crops there? And the person said, oh, you can go ahead. So I get plantain from my garden. I get all the crops, the scent leaf and all of that. So the question is, what do we do with the spaces in our homes? As I walked into here, I expected to see you have corn, those vegetables.
Within the vicinity.
Yes, within the vicinity.
Yes.
So, and this is something we need to be very conscious about. We don't need to buy everything from the market. This is what our parents taught us. I don't know what happens to these Gen Z children now. Nobody wants to work with their hand. Everybody wants to buy something in the market. I can't buy scent leaf from the market. I can't buy vegetable from the market. I can't even buy tomatoes from the market. So every space I find in my house, I use it to plant. Now, you are going to tell me that, oh, I don't have an empty land. But what happens to that sack bag? Because you can plant in that sack bag. You get the soil.
Right in front of your house.
Right in front of your house. So instead of wasting the space and planting flowers, I'm not saying don't plant flowers, yes, but you should do more of planting crops. So those basic crops that you need, you can just turn your backyard and you get them to use. So you don't spend so much. I can't remember the last time I bought plantain in the market. Because if you come to my small garden, I have enough plantain. Okay, so we need to be able to begin to manage spaces. And then you have those old rubbers. Yeah. You say you want to throw them. There's no waste anymore. You keep them, broken rubbers that you're supposed to throw away. Keep them and put the soil and plant.
Well, that's a fantastic take on this and a beautiful way to advise people to plant. However, there are some factors we also need to consider. Yeah. Now, I remember growing up, we had like a mini farm in my house, yeah, in our compound, and my mom had corn, she had the scent leaf you were talking about, she had aloe vera and other things in the farm. Yeah. It was beautiful. She could easily go there and pluck things. However, in contemporary houses that we find now, especially in estates, these things are not permissible. You'd find green areas where you just see grass or trees, not food crops now, just for beautification. And it appears that the confined spaces that we now live in, especially in urban cities like this, just do not allow for people to be able to do this subsistent farming within their compound. How do we address this issue?
Now, in that compound that you have a space to park, even if it's one car. How do you get into the compound?
Well, you drive in.
Beautiful. So when you drive in and park your car, you still have space to walk through, right?
Certainly.
Put bags of cement. They don't take spaces. Bags of cement. Just line them by your fence. Instead of planting flowers, line the bag of cement, put black soil, the planting soil, and plant your crops. That's what we're saying. So instead of planting flowers, you can do little flower in the front just to beautify it, but the rest just round your fence. Put bags of cement, put soil, the planting soil, and plant your crops.
Well, then that's an interesting take. But let me take you back to statistics here on the Guardian newspaper. Now, I believe it will be displayed on the screen as we take a look at the stats again on the Guardian. By the conservative estimate of the national average cost of a healthy diet of 255 naira per meal, a family of 4 would require 150,000 naira per month to have 1 meal per day. Now, mind you, the standard is 3 square meals per day. If you can't go for 3, you could do 2. Most people do 2 these days even. Nobody has time for 3 square meals per day. But to even eat 1 square meal per day for a standard family of 4, father, mother, 2 children, you would need 150,000 naira. Most people can't afford half of that, which is our minimum wage in a month.
If you do this planting that I'm talking about in your compound, you're going to reduce that by 50.
How so?
Oh, okay. So if you want to prepare plantain, let's say you want to eat plantain and vegetable sauce, right?
Yes.
So in your compound, you have plantain, you have the vegetable. So what you may be buying will be just pepper or Maggi and salt and palm oil, yes, or vegetable oil, right? So you have the plantain, which is very expensive, and then you have your pepper planted in your compound, so, and then the vegetable. So by the time you realize that, you have served up to 70%. What you'll be buying from the market is going to be palm oil and Maggi and salt that you don't have control over. But the ones that you have control over, we are advocating that you should be able to plant that. Meanwhile, the government can do a lot.
Yes. By
encouraging every home, every home plant 3, 4, 5 crops. You know, we like incentive.
We like
incentive. Okay,
we
are going to give you incentive if we come for inspection from Ministry of Agri and you have planted like 4 or 5 crops, because it's going to save the country a lot. It's going to give us some level of food security. We are going to give you incentive if you have about 3, 4, 5 crops planted and they are doing well. So our incentive to you is going to be, or maybe we'll give you some seedlings, we give you fertilizer, we support you. I'm telling you that every home is going to find a way of doing it. Why am I saying so? I'm from Cross River State. When we had a governor, Governor Donald Duke, this is what he did. He said everybody should go and plant pineapple. If you plant pineapple, one of the challenges is that where do we sell it to? Government said then, if you plant pineapple every Friday, bring it to the roundabout in the market, we are going to buy it from you. I went into pineapple planting because when we were sure that the government was going to buy, we're going to have money back. And then government was also supporting us with fertilizer. So the government has a lot to do. Let us even move from this point and go into those who are doing large-scale farming. Let me tell you something. The people they give agricultural grants here are people who are portfolio farmers. We want to appeal to government that they should send their staff to go to the field.
Well, when you say portfolio farmers, I think you should simplify that. What do you mean by portfolio farmers?
They don't have the farm. There's no farm for anybody to cite.
They're just farmers on paper.
Thank you very much. They come with a lot of paper documentations and speak big English, big grammar.
And get grants.
Thank you. And they are the ones that actually have the access. The real farmers, those who do farming, because as I do real farming. I do plantain farming and cocoa farming and oil palm farming. I've never seen somebody from Ministry of Agriculture coming to say, oh, you're planting on 258 hectares. What can government do? We don't have access to...
Well, the 258 hectares of land, is it here in Abuja or in...
No, in Cross River. In Cross River State.
Well, yes. That's quite impressive.
Very, very impressive.
And how do you manage... Because there's yet another report stating that the average farmer in Nigeria loses about 50% of farm produce during the process of harvest.
Thank you.
I believe it's the stats you are very much aware of.
Very correct.
Now, how do you handle issues like this and ensure that what you have planted, the projected farm produce that you expected to get out of it, is at least 80 to 90%, gotten from the soil?
One of the serious challenges that we have, maybe from our terrain, is that to get to the farm, the road is terrible. You can't even access. If you do not have a tractor, in fact, sometimes we need to drive, get to a point, climb a bike, and then trek the remaining part to the farm. Now, the farm is a very big farm, so you have a farmhouse, managers and workers and all of that. After the farming, the soil is very, very healthy.
Yes.
But bringing it out is the challenge because there's no road. Nobody is helping you. You're the one doing everything. No government incentive, no fertilizer, no seedlings, no nothing. Now, this is something we love because we have passion. And so you have so many farmers like that. They don't have access to government support at all. I want to use this medium to appeal to government. The federal government is doing so much, right? But it is not feasible because it's not actually getting to the end users.
Well, let's talk about government intervention and the effectiveness that it has had over the years. Now, if you recall very well, there was a time when the scheme called Anchor Borrowers Program was brought about. That did not really go well.
It didn't.
It did not go well. And many people bashed the policy, saying that people who were responsible with the, whole system sort of mismanaged it. Funds were looted or siphoned or diverted, and people who were giving out the loans to ended up not, using the monies for the agricultural farming that they were supposed to use it for. How do we ensure that we checkmate such programs to make sure that people like you, farmers like you who farm in large scale, who are not just portfolio farmers, actually get access to these schemes, to these funds, to these loans, and utilize them in the proper way?
Anchor Borrowers scheme was a very genuine scheme by the federal government, right?
Yes.
But implementation became a challenge because you allow funds to get to the people that don't need it. You allow funds to get to portfolio farmers. I've said it again and I'm repeating it again. Portfolio farmers. Why don't you decentralize it? Right? Take this money, stop giving it to politicians. Take it to the Ministry of Agric. Make sure that what I wish that government should do is that they should form genuine committee that have real farmers, because something that you have passion to do, you will not want to destroy it. That have, real farmers, identify real farmers from states, put in that committee as a federal government,
yes.
Send them to the states and pass that, that scheme through them. And there must be evidence. I like video evidence. Go and inspect farms. See the owners of the farms and let them apply as it is, so that you know that you're actually giving money to the real farmers. I've been in farming for over 10 years. I've never gotten fertilizer from government. I mean fertilizer as small as that is. But people keep getting these things and they are not farmers. So decentralize it.
Yes.
Create a committee of real farmers from states. Stop telling politicians to appoint people for you because they will never get you the real persons. If you actually want this to work, as I speak with you from my farm, when we want to do cutting, plantain cutting, we can cut 4 tractors at a time. Because you have to put in the tractor to bring it out for you to come and sell, right?
Yes. And
then we sell it not very expensive because of our terrain. We can't even make it expensive because the basic thing for us is, first, you have passion for it. 2, you want food to be available.
Yes.
So federal government should decentralize this agro borrower scheme. It's not going to work if you leave it in Abuja. Identify real, genuine farmers. Before someone is put in that committee, federal government should make sure that they send someone who is genuine to go and identify the person's farm. Right?
For assessment, on-ground assessment.
On-ground assessment, not stories, not paper. On-ground assessment. We need to be as practical as that for us to get it right. Because let me tell you, if we get food security right, a lot of things will take place. Even the malnutrition you're talking about. Because if I eat healthy, why am I going to be malnutrited, right? Yeah. Why will I be malnourished? I won't be malnourished because I'm eating raw. I can't remember the last time I went to the hospital because I make sure that I eat organic food and I eat well. I eat food from my farm.
Now, this is because you have access to, organic food. You are a farmer. You farm in large scale. I mean, over 200 hectares of land is
it's a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah. It's quite a big one. Now let's narrow it down to say, communities in northern Nigeria, where reports have shown that in the last couple of years, farmers have become more and more dependent on fertilizer more than ever before. Now, back in the day, you could, be walking on the streets and you'd find food crops growing on the streets. Perhaps somebody throws a seed somewhere, rain falls, it starts to germinate. But now, when farmers farm or put seeds in the ground without fertilizer, there's usually no yield. What do you think might have happened over the time? Is it an issue of climate change? Is it an issue of the soil getting weakened across board? What exactly is the root cause of this, and how do we address it?
Okay, so in the north, we in the south, we do seasonal farming, right? We have seasons for everything. But in the north, you can eat corn every day. But in the south,
because there is both dry season and rainy season
So
farming.
you can eat corn every day because they do irrigation farming. So you realize that because of space or because of their land, exactly. So they do farming on the same land every year. Now this is what happened. It's like the human body. If you use it and overuse it, that is what happened. It will weaken the soil. So you will need to get supplements. As you get older, they tell you need to be taking supplements. So that land is being overused, so you need to be putting fertilizer. But back where we come from, it's not like that. But also, if you go into large-scale farming, you will have to use fertilizer. But we also have organic fertilizer. For instance, like in my garden, I always want to use my garden at home because, see, I'm very passionate about farming. I like to use garden in my home. Now, this is what I do. I have a neighbor, I have someone around, my vicinity that rears chicken, and then the people where you have the cow park.
Yes.
So I go there, I send my people to go there and get this dung for me. That's the dung I use for my own farm here. Yeah, that's my fertilizer.
But do you use the non-organic fertilizer, the processed fertilizers?
Yes, you have to use it in the large scale farming. Okay. Like the one we have, the 258, you have to use it. But back in the house, which
you just get animal waste and
use it. So there's no way you can do away with using fertilizer. You have to use fertilizer. But we also want to encourage that they give us something that is a bit healthy, right, for us, because we must use it. If we go into large-scale farming, we must use it.
Now let's talk about some food items that people cannot necessarily farm easily, right? You mentioned that people could farm corn, people could farm the little vegetables that they can, use for soups and stuff in their backyard or in their household. But talking about things like eggs, where we are seeing a projection that a crate of egg could hit 10,000 naira before the year runs out. It's currently pegged at 6,000 naira thereabouts. And continually you see Nigerians' meals move from having chicken to having beef to having egg to having nothing. How do we mitigate such shortfalls and ensure that the most basic, the smallest of protein source, which is the egg that Nigerians eat in their meals, is accessible, to many?
If I encourage you to become a vegetarian, will you listen to me?
well, personally, I don't think I would consider that now because I love meat. I do.
You have to find a way of
and the reality of many Nigerians is that they don't even want to be vegetarians. They are just vegetarians by proxy. They have to be vegetarians.
They have to be vegetarians. They have to. We encourage you to be vegetarian, but let's deal with the issue now. Okay. The issue of egg. Well, I'm going to say that as a person, I don't want to generalize it, but as a person, I'm not an egg person. I don't like.
It's the cheapest source of protein that anybody can get.
Well, that's correct. But we also have people who are farming, who are doing that particular part of farming. That's the poultry farming. So we want to also appeal to the government. People are doing it. Can we also encourage them? Because, it's very messy. You can't have it around in an estate. Let's tell yourself the truth. So you have to go very far to go and own that farm.
And you need a lot of capital.
You need a lot of capital. That's the truth. So we're appealing to government to help us and fund these people genuinely. That's why we said people, the agri ministry, those who are agriculturists, need to be physical. They need to move. They don't need to be in the office. It's a practical thing. As an engineer, I don't need to sit in the office. I go to the field. So if you're an agri expert, you're working in Ministry of Agri, you need to be physical. So you need to genuinely, when people apply for something, genuinely go and inspect. And when you see that these people genuinely own this farm, poultry farming, government should give them grants. Government should support
But
them.
doctor, you know, everybody must not own a farm. We are trying to figure out a way to make these food items cheaper.
Everybody must own a farm, no matter how small it is.
How is that? How is that possible?
We need.
We were talking about some food crops that people can own easily. Fine and good. Maybe people might consider getting these small cement bags and all and planting. But in situations where people want to eat meat, so they certainly can't rear their cows or sheep or goats or chicken within the estate. They can't rear chickens to be able to get eggs. And they have to buy eggs. They have to be dependent on the supply of eggs from farmers who farm in the outskirts of town or in specially, kept poultry farms. A crate of egg is 6,000 naira.
6,800.
6,800. That's almost 7,000 naira at the moment. They have to depend on that. If they want to eat eggs, they have to buy it at such an outrageous amount. How do we ensure that we checkmate these prices? I know times are hard. I know the economy is biting hard on the backs of business owners like you and other farmers as well. But how do we ensure that in as much as you're looking for profit, you're also not transferring that back-breaking crunch on ordinary Nigerians who just want to afford an egg in their meal?
This is where the government comes in. Like I said government will need to give grants. Because when government gives you grants, it's not a loan. They need to support farmers with grants, genuinely. That's why I said don't give money to portfolio farmers. Go and identify them and make sure that farmers sign agreement with government. If government gives you support like this, we don't expect you to, do this produce and then you come and be escalating the price in the market.
How do you checkmate that?
Oh, you will checkmate it.
Are there agencies responsible for that, or are you calling for an establishment of another agency to ensure that these prices are checkmated?
My brother, in that Ministry of Agri, there should be a department, because except you want federal government to create another one, but I'm saying that in that Ministry of Agri, there is a department that is supposed to go and checkmate that. So, but people are sitting in the office. Nobody wants to go to the field. People should go to the field and do the job, so that when government spends money, they should see the benefits of that money they are spending. Even when they want to give grants or they want to give loan, the interest rate should be so minimal that it will not be a burden on the farmer. So when government does that, when government gives you an ambience for you to do well, why will you be making things expensive? There will be an agency to check that. And if you're found guilty, of course, you know what that means to you. Because, of course, I know what government should be able to do to you. So
there should be some sort of, system with punishments to be meted out on defaulters.
Once you don't put punishments on defaulters, people will continue to do what they like. So when government, if you cannot give what you don't have. When you give me support, I expect that I give you back something good. But if you don't give me support and I'm the one that has to do everything, of course you don't have any local standing to come and be.
Now this is a rather personal question, but have you been able to access any form of loan or grant from the federal government or any government agency in your business as a farmer?
Never.
Why has it been very difficult for you?
Because
or have you just not looked that way?
We have applied. They said, come and apply for, in fact, I've applied for tractor because our farm is massive. We've applied for tractor, we can't access it. We applied for fertilizer, we don't even know where the application gets to. All this link, go and fill this, go and fill that, we fill. But I am of the opinion that when these things are submitted, because at the end of the day, we hear that people have been given. I don't even know who has been given from Cross River, to be very candid. Now, my question is, how do they judge to give the people that they give? Is it the same man, no man? Because if you want to follow, it's the right way. If I write an application and I said, I have a farm that is about 258 hectares. I have plantain, I have oil palm, I have cocoa on it. I should expect to have seen someone from Ministry of Agri coming to inspect the farm, doing a real-time online inspection of the farm.
Yes.
So they can say, okay, you are qualified or you're not qualified. This is my farm. It's my farmland. And you're saying I should go and bring CAC certificate from where? I'm a farmer. This is my property. Come and identify. Farm is registered. You have it. Why don't you come and take a look? I'm not even saying give me money without coming to confirm. Come and confirm the farm.
And probably give tractors or fertilizers
Exactly.
or some sort of incentive.
Exactly. And support us with seedlings, fertilizers, tractors, as the case may be, depending on what you have seen. So, but they are not ready to go out and work.
Now, a lot of people have, in a rather satirical or comedic way, said that the federal government is a government of rice palliatives. A lot of times Nigerians have tweeted, posted, or made comments towards the federal government that each time there is some sort of natural crisis in any part of the country, the only resort that the federal government does through the states is to send out trailers of bags of rice to states. There is a riot in a city and people are killed, bags of rice. There is flooding in Maiduguri, bags of rice. Something happens, bag of rice. Is the Nigerian government incapable of farming any other thing, preserving it and dishing it out to the Nigerian populace other than rice?
No, Nigerian government is capable to do all that.
Why is the Ministry of Agriculture not doing the necessary?
I want to say, you know, those days it used to be gari, it used to be staple food.
Exactly.
Rice has become staple food. You know why? Because you can cook rice any which way and it will become a complete meal. Variety. You can do it jollof, what you call MTN rice, popo rice. You can do anyone.
It's the first time I'm hearing the MTN rice.
Oh, really? The palm oil rice is the MTN rice.
Fantastic.
so rice has become a staple food.
Yes.
Right? And then it's also easy to farm, harvest, and preserve than maybe beans. Beans has a lot of protocol to do. And then there are not many people farming it. From the north to the south, we farm rice. But in the south, we don't farm beans. So it's easy to get rice across the country, not easy to get beans. Now, government does not have any business in business. It is private sectors that runs the economy of any country. So we are saying that ministry does not have they don't have any business to go and farm. No, they should just give us the support, the necessary support to farmers. If you encourage every Nigerian, even you, as I've spoken to you today, I expect that next time I come to visit you, because I'm going to visit you, I want to see those bags of cement that you've planted, tomatoes, pepper, and all of those things. Do you know what it means to communicate with nature? Ask farmers, as you come out from your house and you're looking, everywhere is green. In fact, the thinking
it helps with ventilation and the air gets purer.
The air gets purer, you get more healthy, so you reduce malnutrition because people will not have to go to the hospital. Everybody must farm something in this country. Look for something and farm. It's important. When you say everybody cannot farm, no, everybody must farm something. All of us cannot do crop farming. Some people will do animal farming, some will do crop farming, but everybody must farm something.
All right, fantastic. It's a beautiful take here, as engineer Dr. EGAN OKON has mentioned. Everybody can and should be a farmer, whether in large scale, whether in small scale. Ensure that something that goes into your pot and onto your table is farmed by you, whether it's vegetables, the peppers you use, tomatoes, anything at all. In keeping with more discussions here, let's talk about people who are in crisis-torn areas within the country. Now, when I say crisis-torn areas, I'm talking about the northeastern parts of the country. I'm talking about the northwestern parts of the country, as well as other areas. But let's focus on these two areas now. Like in the northeast, the Boko Haram insurgency has displaced millions of people. More than 2 million people have been displaced. People can't access their farms. And in the northwest, People can't access their farms because of banditry. And even if they want to, the bandits have now come up with a system where they have to pay levies to them to be able to access their farms. Something that is unprecedented in the country, has never been seen. In areas like this, what do you think the possible way out of this is for people who can't go to the farm, who are solely dependent on farming to be able to survive?
All right, one of the challenges of insecurity too is hunger, right? And then over time, over the years, we've been treating security with kids' gloves. I think that's where the challenge is.
Yes.
And it's not only in the north, even in the south, because I know that my people from, Oron that brings crayfish and fish are also being attacked by the pirates in the water. That's the militants and all of that.
Yes.
Government needs to be very, very intentional with security.
Yes.
Fighting insecurity is very possible. You know why? Because these people live with us. We know them. They live in our communities. I wouldn't want to mention name, but I know that in my community far away there,
yes,
there was a time I got an information that we had a boy who was a bad boy. He ran, police were looking for him, he ran and came to the community. I took it upon myself with some other people to make sure that the police got him.
To fish him out.
To fish him out before he gets other corrupted, right?
Yes.
These people live with us. If we didn't take that step, he will be there and then begin to recruit others. Before you know, the community may not be anywhere for anybody to stay, right? So we have these people living in our communities. Why do we have local chiefs? What are we doing? They know them. So if you, some state governments will say, if we identify one militant, let me use the South, one militant in that community, you're going to be dethroned. And that certificate will be collected from you. That is one of the things that the governors from the South have used to curb these people. Yes. So we can also implement it in the North. Local, that is community policing, starts from me and you. That is why we have the chiefs, we have the kings, we have the elders, we have everybody watching everybody's back. So even in your house, if you know that you have somebody who is a bandit, you should be able to have the courage to say, okay, you want to go and blow whistle. But the problem now is that when you blow whistle and they go and report that you're the one that came and blew the whistle. But how safe is the whistleblower? Government needs to be intentional. Yes. Intentional. They need to live. Need to stop politicizing.
Well, in as much as not many people would have the privilege of being able to blow these whistles and get these miscreants apprehended, like in the case of Boko Haram. I mean, who wants to blow a whistle on a Boko Haram member? It's too dangerous.
Because if you blow, the person you're blowing to will not go and expose you.
Exactly. And in the Northwest, the bandits have held most northwestern communities hostage to the point where the president even asked the service chiefs as well as the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawali, to move to Sokoto in order to curb the banditry and kidnapping within that region. It's still an ongoing war with bombardments going on there. Now, moving away from that, let's still talk about say people who can't access farms. I know we have sort of established it, but in communities and in the southeast or south, especially southeast, where things like the unknown gunmen situation has been ravaging people with Monday sit at home and all of that, the IPOP ASN situation, I believe that people sort of have clashes with these gunmen when they go to their farms, especially on days like Mondays. That is one. And another issue is the herder-farmer clashes, which started off from the northeastern part of the country and has now
been there.
And has now transitioned to other parts of the country. The herder-farmer clashes. I mean, I'm saying this because I've had reports in the northeast. I've done documentaries and all in the northeast, and I've been privy to some of these things. How do we ensure that farmers who are herders, because I believe herders are also farmers, they're cattle farmers, and farmers who farm crops, both have the same level playing ground so that nobody feels cheated at the end of the day?
Okay, so I think government is also trying to do, when they say confine your animals to a place, give them a place.
Confine grazing.
Confine grazing.
Yeah.
The crop farmer is already confined because he's on this plot, he cannot move. So you should also make provision for the animal farmers, you know, to have confined grazing, whether you like it or not. It has to be done. That is what is applicable everywhere in the world, so that you will not have these clashes. Because if I invest so much in my farming and then you bring your animal to come and eat it, is that supposed to be a joke? Are you understanding?
Yes.
So every state government must be intentional with making sure that there is a confined grazing a space for people who are into animal farming. We do it. If, for instance, I keep using Cross River State because that's where I'm from. Cross River State, we have it. People are farming pigs, you know, cows, everything. They are in their confined area and they know where to go to. They are in that, their slaughters in their confined area, and they feed them there very well. I feed my pigs, I feed my goats, I don't. There's a law. In our different communities, there are laws now because we have the local courts. We have the, what they call the village courts, real courts. If your goat is found eating somebody's crop, that goat will be arrested and taken to the court. Charged to court. Is the goat, oh, the owner will show, abi. If you don't show, the goats will belong to the judge, the local judge, and that is it. So everybody now knows that there is a law in the land. So make sure that you confine your animal and feed their animals so that they don't go and destroy somebody's crop. So it's an intentional thing. Government should also help our community leaders. That's why I said that it begins and ends with our community leaders. When they say they want community policing, it's not about wearing uniform and being a committee. No. Community policing starts from the leaders in the community. Everybody must be conscious about it. So keep those laws. Those laws are there. Even in my village, as I speak with you, those laws are there. Don't allow your goat to eat someone's crop. If it does, we'll charge the goat to court. If you don't appear, they'll kill the goats and eat in the village square.
Well, doctor, this is a rather controversial and sensitive topic, because on one hand, while people are advocating that open grazing be outlawed in the country, other people are also of the opinion that the people of, you know, the Fulani clan that are well known for being herders, you know, across sub-Saharan Africa and in Nigeria, even in Abuja here, you see them transporting their cattle, you know, across cities, grazing on right the roadside and all of that. In as much as it is disturbing to some people, others have argued that it has been an age-long tradition, and that some of these urban cities were built along the cattle grazing routes that the Fulani people have from time immemorial been grazing their cattle across, you know, the length and breadth of the country. How do we ensure that, in as much as we are trying to urbanize cities, we are also not depriving these people who have their own way of life from carrying out what they have been doing for maybe centuries?
Do you think that anybody wishes to suffer? You see those people trekking, they can trek from here. It is not that they enjoy it per se. Those days, yes, even at that, they were not really enjoying it. But if you want to stop them from grazing like that,
yes,
have you made provision for them? You haven't. So governments will first of all make provision for them. If you make provision and give them a space and give them good grazing, who wants to suffer? If they want to transport their cows, after all, taking cows from the north to Cross River State, you put it in trailers. They don't trek with it. So you see them on the road because there is no availability of grazing for them to do in a confined area. So government should first of all provide that for them. It is when they have provided that, then you can now stop them. You haven't provided, you want to stop them. That would not be fair. You are not fair. So let us provide them with that space and give them what it takes to take care of their cows, which will be more healthy than this suffer. Because this thing is, in fact, I get scared because some of them are so young and they're just running everywhere. And you know how the town is now. People are not I don't know how to say, they are not patient, or they are not, there's no compassion.
Everybody is in
a hurry. Exactly. So they can be in a hurry and just hit someone's child. You think that child, the parent is so happy to allow that child to follow? No. So governments should make provision for them. That's the truth.
Well, contrastly, there is a law criminalizing open grazing in Nigeria. And now this is according to a report here, where it says the law popularly called anti-open grazing law, which is what the Fulani herdsmen do. came into effect in November 2017. According to the law, pastoralists and other interested parties are to lease land from the government for the establishment of ranches. The lease permit issued for such land is to be renewed annually. But in states like Ekiti, there is also a prohibition of uncontrolled grazing, where it says no person shall cause or permit any cattle or other ruminants belonging to him or under his control to graze on any land in which the governor has not designated as ranches. However, some of these state governors have refused to grant the Fulani herdsmen the right to own and operate ranches in their states, especially states like Ekiti.
Well, you cannot bring a law when you have not provided a solution. It won't work.
What is the solution in your opinion?
The government should be intentional to give them a grazing land. You should. These people are already struggling to survive, and you say they should come and lease land. From where? With which money? You will give them land. Give them land. That is supposed to be like, because we are supposed to operate it like a joint venture.
Yes.
So government contribution should be that land. Give them the land. Let them put it. It is when they have refused, you have given them, and they refuse to adhere to it. That's when you should begin to implement law. You cannot bring law now. There will be clash, whether you like it or not. So while we are trying to put our laws, let us also know that we are humans and we are compassionate. We should deal with people with empathy. If we put ourselves in their shoes, will we be able to afford it? The answer is no. The people are already struggling. So the same way you've given us land, even though we bought our own, right? Okay, that's because we're able, right? But they are not able. So provide land for them. It's already too expensive to rear cow. Let us tell ourselves the truth. If you don't want to give them land as a government, then you tell them to leave. And so you rear your cow. I think you're talking about people eating meat, Abby?
Yes.
So you'll be eating what when they leave? We have to coexist.
Maybe the eggs that now cost about 7,000 naira per crate.
We have to coexist because first we are Nigerians before we talk about tribe. I'm one of those that is advocating that we should take out this tribe thing. I'm born in Abuja and you're asking me state of origin. You shouldn't be asking me that. I'm born here. Oh, my parents are from Cross River, right? But I'm born here. Don't ask me state of origin on that certificate anymore. In Britain, if you have a child, that child is a Great British. It is written Great Britain. Nobody knows whether you are from Liverpool or you are from Manchester. That is what we should, so that we can begin to take away this mindset sentiments of tribe. We need to take it away. When we take it away, we will see everyone as a brother and as a sister. So what I cannot do to my own blood, will I be able to do it to a Fulani man? So we are all we need, and we are better together.
Well, Doctor, I must commend your passion and compassion for the Fulani people and their way of life, herding cattle and all. But there have been debates, especially within communities or circles surrounding if really the Fulani people ever get tired of trekking for hundreds of kilometers across the country for grazing. And one of the things that I took away from one of such debates is the fact that they actually move around the country because of times and seasons, where they move their cattle to graze in different places, always looking for greener pastures across the country. If they stay in one place, their cattle will finish off the grass in those areas, and before the next season of regrowth comes about, their cattle might suffer. So that is why they continually transport this cattle. That is one. Now, mind you, cattle isn't cheap these days. They are what in a herd of cattle. They are what, if not up to 100 million, more than 100 million, because each cow now, we are talking about millions of naira.
Yeah.
When you say that the cattle herders can't actually afford land for lease, a lot of people might beg to differ. If they have cattle, which is an asset, worth millions of naira or hundreds of millions, I believe they can afford some certain amounts of money to pay the state governments to be able to lease these lands. Or do you think it's just perhaps a matter of lack of interest from their end?
Okay, in this country, we politicize everything.
Okay.
It's a business. In that herd that you see, people invest in it. Individuals can buy 1 cow, 2 cow, and
throw into the
it there. So sometimes it does not belong to one person. I'm telling you what I know.
Yes.
It doesn't belong to one person. So if you see 100 cows, it might belong to 50 or 60 people who just have little money and are interested in that. But because you cannot continue to do 1 cow, they say, okay, Malam, let me invest. I want to invest with 1 cow. Now, the Malam that is taking care of all those cows, is it his cow? It's not. And I only have money to buy 1 cow, and I put there, and you say we should come and buy land. Don't forget, these people are already used to, moving and doing open grazing.
Yes.
How do you now solve this problem? Somebody who is used to sitting down on the floor to eat eba, I eat gari with my hands. If you like, take me abroad. I cannot use fork and knife. How do you now modify me to be able to use fork and knife to eat gari? First, you will solve that my problem, right?
Yes.
You want him to leave open grazing. Why don't you make provision? That should be your sacrifice. Make provision for him. Say, I have given you this land free of charge because I want to encourage you to stop open grazing. That open grazing, sometimes those children are killed. Speed. They will just kill them, kill the cows. And
there are instances of clashes between farmers and them in farms where, people lose their lives. Either the farmers die or the herders themselves are killed.
So are we now happy that people are losing their lives? It's because we don't pay death insurance in this country. If we pay death insurance, government pays death insurance to individual families, then we'll be able to find solution. So these people are already used to this lifestyle. How do you now encourage them not to continue with this lifestyle? Give them free land. I'm saying it and I will say it again. Give them free land, dash it to them and tell them, see, all of you, this area like this is for you. I'm repeating it again. I have a governor who did it for mechanics in Cross River State. He said
and it worked.
It worked. He said, I don't want mechanics littered everywhere. Okay, this area now is for mechanic workshop.
We have something similar to that here in Abuja, the Apo Mechanics Village.
All of you go there. Government gave them for free. Because if you had told individual to go there and buy land, they won't be able to afford it. They are mega mechanics. So if you know that people are already used to something and you want to change it, you must be strategic about it. So give them a place. Give them a space. Like we have. I keep saying it though. I keep repeating where I come from because it's working there. Like we have them there in that slaughter. They call it slaughter in 8 miles. They are there. So have you ever heard us having issues with them?
Certainly not.
Beautiful. So how is it working in other states? That is what they should, check out in those states that are having issues.
Yes.
Ask your co-governors, how is it working? Why are you not having issues? We have people, maybe because we are very passionate people from Cross River. We have people, we live with everybody and we are living peacefully. 1 or 2 little communal crises, it's normal, it will come, but not with them, never. And we've not had issues that they came into our farm. How? They have their space, and truly...
Because it was granted to them by the governor.
Free! So you have to make this provision for them.
Now you are an engineer as well as a food security expert. We have just about 7-8 minutes to wrap up this conversation. Let's talk about the place of technology or technological advancements when it comes to farming. The world has grown or gone past the days of cutlass and hoe in the farm. People now use mechanized farming in large scales to be able to get more yields, better returns, in their farms and all. When do you think Nigeria will gradually tilt fully towards mechanized farming, where we would perhaps do away with the regular hoe and cutlass?
The federal government is genuine with its intentions, right?
Yeah.
But implementation too is a problem. We need to have moved like 10 years ago. We need to have moved. Up till today, we're still using cutlass, like you said. How many people can get those, Boeing tractors? You can't, except you're a very rich person. That's why everybody, they want to run into politics because they think that there's free money there to take. If governments make provision, that's why I'm saying government should be intentional. I'm saying it here, there are so many farmers out there who have never had anything from government to support. If somebody has a farm on 100 hectares, government should be able to say, okay, Farm on 50 hectares and above. We are going to give you support of this. Tell us, what do you need? We are going to support you, even if it is one thing. We don't say, come and give us everything. No. Support with one machine.
Yes.
And then, when you do that, it will encourage other farmers to come in. Everybody will turn into farming. Government needs to be intentional in investing in Ministry of Agri, but not giving grants and loans to portfolio farmers. They need to go and see physically. Without that, they can never get. If you like, buy all the tractors and keep in Abuja. They would dash it to politicians. So the real farmers never ever get this.
Many people have argued that sometimes when these fertilizers, when these tractors, when these farming equipments are given out to state governments, they don't or even to politicians, as you mentioned, or public office holders, they don't necessarily give them out to the citizenry or the farmers the way they are supposed to. They just keep them, store them, and then perhaps use them as campaign materials during elections, where it now appears as if they are the ones providing these items to the farmers and not necessarily coming from the coffers of the federal government.
You saw what happened during COVID now?
Yes.
Federal government gave, food that they should go and share. They stored it.
And then it led to a de-escalation of peace in the country.
Why do you keep it? Ask them, how many states have database of farmers? That's where we should start from. You cannot operate if you don't have a database.
Yes.
So how many states governments have, how many states, ministries of agri, how many states have database of their farmers genuinely? So that when this palliative, when these things come, when the supports come, when you give farmer A, you tick the system, you have a way to say it has been given. So we gave you fertilizer, we gave you this. Next time when another thing comes, we're not going to be looking at that farmer, we'll look at the next farmer. That is how you keep going. Okay, if 100 items come, let us share the state into 3, right? North, south, and central. So 100, let us give 30, 30, 30. But from our database, right?
Yes.
We have these farmers. Genuinely, we have treated 30 farmers. So next time when these things come, so the Minister of Agri, Federal Minister of Agri should ask the state to come with database of farmers. And not only coming, he should send field workers from his office to go and truly identify those farms. If you don't identify those farms, uncle, we're just wasting our times.
In the country.
Yes, we're just wasting our time in the country. We must identify those farms.
Well, finally, in as much as you are a food security expert and a farmer as well, I believe you also triple as a food nutritionist in some extent, to some extent.
Yes.
Well, in curbing malnutrition and hunger, I know you have outlined things that people can do, the types of plants they can, have in their homes and all. But let's talk about balanced diet. At a time when people can barely afford 2 square meals per day, when the standard is 3.
No, the standard should be 2.
The standard, it's no longer 3. Well, we all know it used to be 3 square meals, but the standard is 2. But now people can barely afford 1. In affording that one, how do you think they can balance it up to ensure that 1 meal, at least they have the egg that I had mentioned earlier, or some sort of other supplements that would make up for that?
Okay. Let's be realistic here.
Yes.
The way our food is being structured, we eat, maybe I think it also depends on the part of the country. The side where I come from, we eat balanced diet. We have a lot of vegetable, protein. We balance, so that 1 meal, that eba and soup has everything inside, has vegetable, protein, carbohydrate, and you drink water. No, be balanced diet be that. That's balanced diet. Yes. Beautiful. So now, these are things we can farm. We can farm mushroom. It's very healthy. In fact, in those days, you don't even farm mushroom.
You just go to the bush and you pick them up.
But now you farm mushroom. So what do? Everybody, these fingers are not equal. So everybody cannot afford going to the market to buy egg. But that mushroom, you can farm it in your space. So that becomes your protein, right? So you have the vegetable, and then you have the cassava, the corn to use and do your swallow, because we must swallow. We are not Oyibo people. So if you're laughing, I'm sure you don't do swallow.
No, I do. Of course I do.
So if you have your small cassava, you have your corn, which you can, if you blend cassava and corn, that's semovita. I hope you know.
I do, yeah.
Beautiful. But you can also eat the corn differently, swallow the cassava differently. These are things you can plant in your farm. Then the vegetable, the pepper, everything, and then the mushroom. There's the other one they call black ear. That black one that does. You know that one?
No, I don't know the name, but I might have seen it before.
No, you've seen it. It's very nutritious. When you cook it in vegetable soup or okra soup, you can be sure of double balanced diet. When you finish, you drink water. That's the mineral. The water is the mineral. In fact, it's a real balanced diet.
Yes.
So in our local setting, we can comfortably eat balanced diet. Right?
Yes.
And then you know those days when we're young, you just see guava, you cut it.
Yes.
Abi, we still have them. Right?
Yes.
So we still have them. So you can comfortably eat balanced diet without having to spend so much.
Well, I must thank you so much, Engineer Dr. EGAN OKON-EFFIONG, for finding the time to come on the program and share your deep wealth of knowledge with us. It's been very informative, educative, and entertaining as well.
Thank you very much. It's also a pleasure to have me in your studio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that has been Engineer Dr. EGAN OKON-EFFIONG, who is a food security expert as well as a crop farmer and a nutritionist as well. And she has been providing, proffering solutions of ways to curb hunger and malnutrition in the country at a time when the country continues to grapple with food crisis in the nation. And that's all time would permit us to take on this particular segment of Morning Express. For sports lovers, Samuel Adeleke will be in the studio at the top of the hour to bring us up to speed with developments in the world of sports. So do well to stay around. When we come back, Morning Express will continue.
Welcome to the Niger Delta, a region of incredible beauty and stark contrast. From its breathtaking landscapes to its rich cultural heritage, this is a place where history and modernity collide. But beneath this serene surface lies a story of struggle and resilience. The Niger Delta is the lifeblood of Nigeria's economy, home to vast oil reserves that fuel the nation, yet it is a land where the people fight for their share of the wealth. Join us on the program Niger Delta Today as we explore the heart of the Niger Delta, discover the vibrant cultures, the struggles for environmental justice, and the stories of the people who call this place home. This is the Niger Delta, a land of contrast, a story of resilience, a journey of hope. Don't miss our exclusive series, Niger Delta Today, every day at 12 noon, only on ADBN TV. Witness the untold stories, experience the journey, be part of the change.
In a world of overwhelming voices, where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an evocative program that touches the core of our existence.
Step into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN, channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
If you are not a judge, you are not a judge.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager, the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Welcome to the world where innovation meets opportunity, where ideas become empires. This is Market TV.
I am Idorian Flannan, and every week I'll be taking you inside the dynamic world of marketing and commercial business.
From groundbreaking startups to big businesses, Market TV brings you the best pricing and latest goods on display.
It's all about understanding your audience and staying ahead of the trends.
Witness the creative processes that drive the various brands.
Join us as we dive deep into the strategies that shape the commercial landscape. From streets to traditional advertising and social media, we cover it all.
Whether you're a seasoned professional or an aspiring entrepreneur, Market TV provides the insights you need to thrive.
This show gave us the tool to turn our vision into reality.
So, if you're ready to master the market, tune into Market TV every Saturday at 6 p.m.
And you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now to some sporting matters. The